Okay, here we go. We're starting the new video. This is going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Vocab number 2, 2020, now with 10% more future. Whatever that means. I don't know. 2020 sounds like the future to me. Maybe it doesn't to you. Here are all your words. Now, usually we have 10 words. We have a bonus word this week because while I was writing the list, I used a word in conversation with students. They didn't know what it was. So I was like, well, let's put it on. We have acquit, effrontery, nettlesome, scrutinize, sweltering, unruffled, folly, raise, indolent, and volition. That bonus word, DOGGEREL, which is a spectacular word. It's really, really good. All right, let's start with acquit. Now, this is a verb. It's usually used in legal situations, primarily court, to indicate that someone has been cleared of all accusations made against them. It's a little bit different than not guilty. Not guilty is, well, we didn't prove you did it. To be acquitted is, we're saying you didn't do it. It's a little more rare. The courts wouldn't say it. People would say that they have been acquitted in a legal situation. So the trial acquitted the defendant of any wrongdoing. Oh, there's a typo there. Man, missed one. It can also be used to say that someone has proven what they said was true, or that they've proven their ability in some way. If I brag to you that I'm, I don't know, the tallest man in the world, I'm definitely not. But if I then lined up everybody, and I was clearly the tallest one, I've acquitted myself. I told you the thing, it turned out to be true. That's what it is. Although clearly I can't prove I'm the tallest person in nearly any room, really. But anyway, so I didn't think you could really eat that many eggs in one sitting, but he acquitted himself, and I had to pay him $20. Like, well, I didn't think you could eat 50 eggs, but then he ate 50 eggs, so it shows what I know. Now, the picture right there, that guy, his name is Johnny Cochran. Johnny Cochran was a super famous attorney. Really, for a while, he was definitely the most famous lawyer in America. He defended O.J. Simpson, among other people, through his career. Johnny Cochran is famous for one particular thing he said during the O.J. Simpson trial. Now, without getting into the particulars of that particular trial, O.J.'s defense largely sat on many things, but one of the things it sat on was saying that the glove, the blood-covered glove at the scene that was evidently used in the murder, wouldn't fit O.J.'s hand. So O.J. tried it on in front of the crowd and had a hard time getting it on. Whether he was faking it or not is something people argue about. But the point is, he couldn't get it on. And Johnny Cochran then said to the jury, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit, in reference to the glove. So it's a really, really famous line. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. So it might help us remember this. Effrontery. Effrontery is a label given to any set of behaviors that's boldly disrespectful and ridiculous. Now, it is a noun. It's the set of behaviors themselves. It sounds like an adjective at first, but it's really not. Now, I'm sure it isn't the case, but it feels like every time I hear the words being said by some outraged fancy guy yelling, "What is this effrontery?" at a bunch of wild young people. If you're doing something bold and rude in a shameless way, that is effrontery. If I went into my room, I had to step out for a second, and one of you was sitting in my desk chair, I'd be pretty upset. I'd say, "What is this effrontery? What are you doing there? Get up, get to your desk. What's wrong with you?" That'd be effrontery. So, nettlesome. This is an adjective. Something that is annoying and a bit stressful and difficult is often described as nettlesome. Now, this comes directly from the word nettle. Nettles are little, thorny, irritating plants that, if you go hiking in some parts of the country, they're going to ruin your hike. They're going to scratch you up. They're going to give you an infection and a rash. They're terrible. Nettles are a bummer. Those things are annoying and lame and frustrating, right? Now, some people call any kind of bit of a plant that sticks to you a nettle. It's not technically true, but, whatever. Now, on the one hand, we have this lady who's covered in a rash from the nettles. But then I like this example here, and I was making this on Martin Luther King Day. So it says here, our nettlesome task is to discover how to organize our strength into compelling power. It's by MLK, and it's a pretty great quote. The idea of nettlesome here being, it's difficult and it's annoying to look at how do we organize strength into power. Because power is the ability to use strength, not just to have it, right? You can be strong and not powerful. That's an interesting idea. That's worth really thinking about. King was quite a smart guy. All right, scrutinize. To scrutinize is a verb. To very closely and carefully inspect something and to look it over. If you scrutinize something, you're finding every little thing that's hidden in there. You're really, really looking closely. We tend to use scrutinize for reading something closely. But it's not just that. You could scrutinize a piece of clothing to make sure that every stitch is right. You could scrutinize a work of art to make sure every brushstroke is correct or whatever else. Now, the word comes from Latin, and it was a job people used to have to look for treasure among trash, to look for valuable things among a lot of junk. We kind of use it in the opposite way now, in a funny way of we look over a thing to make sure nothing's wrong with it. So it's like you're looking over something good to find all the bad stuff. But either way, really what it just means is look carefully for what doesn't fit in. And that's to scrutinize. All right, sweltering. Oh, we have a lot of experience with this one in the desert. It's an adjective. Now, this word is used pretty much exclusively to describe weather and the atmosphere in a room that is overwhelmingly hot. You wouldn't say inside an oven is overwhelmingly hot. The idea here is it's the experience of being in the heat. If it is unpleasant for you to be in the heat, it is sweltering. Yeah, of course, to be unpleasant in an oven, but you're not going to get into an oven unless something's gone horribly wrong. In which case, the heat's probably the least of your problems at that point. Who's forcing you into an oven? What are you doing? What's happening with your life? So again, it's not just about temperature. I mean, whatever, a volcano is hotter. I still wouldn't call it sweltering because it's about the feeling of being uncomfortable in the heat. All right. Unruffled. Now, this is an adjective. It's used to describe someone who's unbothered by something that maybe should bother them or would annoy and bother someone else. Now, the description comes from birds. If you were to rub a bird counter to the way its feathers lie, in the direction that it doesn't normally naturally go, it would be really unpleasant for them and really bother them. It actually kind of hurt. So if someone ruffles your feathers, they've made you very unhappy and uncomfortable in some way. But to somehow go through that experience, that annoying thing, without getting ruffled, you are unruffled. You have somehow stayed comfortable despite everything being super annoying. That's what unruffled means. Folly. Okay, this is a noun. Now, it's a noun. This is going to be the case for many of these this week. Sometimes it kind of seems like an adjective, but it is a noun. If something seems foolish and poorly thought out and like a waste of time and effort, it's labeled as folly. Ugh, that's folly. I'm not going to do that. They're saying the task itself is ridiculous, but they're calling the task a folly. Something that's seen as demonstrating a lack of sense or it's proof of foolishness is called folly. Now, this building here, in our little illustration, is kind of a funny proof of that. This is a building called a folly. Now, here's why it's a folly and not just some old building. It was designed and built to look just like that. It's not that it's an old building. When it was brand new, that's what it looked like, which is super strange. The reason why, and why it's called a folly, is because back in the day, really, really crazily rich people, mostly in England, would own a huge thing of land, right? And they have a view from their amazing house. And they thought it would make the house look more interesting if it had fake old buildings put on it. And they called it a folly. Because it's just a stupid, foolish waste of a thing to do. Because rich people are the worst. So certainly they were back when, and whether or not they are now, I'll leave that to your discretion. But I'm willing to bet people are still getting follies built, which is absurd. Ooh, that reminds me though. Follies is also used in a plural way to talk about like a silly show. We don't use it like that very often. I'm not going to use it like that on the quiz. But if you ever hear it used, that is a thing. All right, raise. This one's going to give people problems. It's a verb. Now, it's kind of confusing because of pronunciation. To raise something, R-A-Z-E, is to completely and totally destroy it and to tear it down. This building here is getting raised by that kind of claw machine, right? Claw machine. So it's getting destroyed. It's getting pulled down completely. You can see there's going to be nothing left of this place. Unfortunately, R-A-Z-E has the same pronunciation as R-A-I-S-E. Raise, as in to lift and to build up, which is very confusing. To tear down and to build up have words with the same pronunciation, which is dumb. I love the word raise, R-A-Z-E, and I use it in my writing. I rarely use it in conversation because I always am in a position where I have to go raise, R-A-Z-E, and people go, oh, right, okay. But then I just sound like a jerk. I don't know. But the funny thing here, it means you could raise a barn and build it, or you could raise a barn and burn it to the ground. And you'd be telling the truth with both versions of that, which is kind of funny. All right, indolent. It's an adjective. I have to do an indolent voice. Ugh. Someone who will do anything. I hiccuped. Someone who will do anything to avoid work is described as indolent. Someone who's determinedly lazy fits the description of indolent. If someone's just like, whatever, man, I'm not doing it. You've seen these people in class, they just sit back. Whatever, I'm not going to do it. I'd rather stare into space and do nothing at all. I'd rather just sit with the staticky buzzing noise in my brain than, anything at all. Draw a picture. There's some people that just, yeah, I can, but I won't. Now that's Garfield, if you're not familiar with Garfield. Garfield's a cartoon cat. There was a comic strip. There's been multiple cartoons. There's been movies. I hate Garfield. I hate Garfield more than I can tell you. Garfield's the worst, in part because of his indolence. He's so gross. I hate him so much. And he's rude and terrible. God, I hate Garfield. Like, I enjoy hating Garfield. I hate him so much. Anyway, volition. Again, I keep starting with these and saying it's a little weird because they sound like adjectives and not nouns, but it's true. Now, if someone has made a decision or taken on an action of some kind based on their own thinking willpower, they have used volition. If you made your own decision, no one made you do it, you have used volition. Now, here's the weird hint. It's almost always used in a phrase like this one. The gender would change depending on the person, of course, but it'd say, he decided this of his own volition. That's pretty much how it's used. If you never showed interest in, basketball before, right? And all your friends are trying to get you to play basketball, and you're like, I don't like basketball, I don't want to do it. And then you showed up at tryouts for basketball, everybody would be shocked. They'd be like, well, who talked you into it? And you go, no, I'm here of my own volition. I just decided to do it. If it's your decision, if you did it by yourself, it was your idea, it's of your own volition. People almost always put own volition before it too. Well, own rather before volition. It's very specific. Our bonus word, doggerel. Oh, I love this word. The original definition was used very specifically to label a kind of poetry that was meant to be funny. It was written in very odd rhythms. So if you look at the first definition of the dictionary, that's it. Here's the thing. No one uses that definition anymore, okay? You'll basically never hear it. You'll never use it, even though it's the first one there. Instead, we use the word doggerel to label anything that's written or spoken that we view as being thoughtless and poorly written or laid out. If we see it, we're like, no, that's not good writing. That almost doesn't even make any sense. That's doggerel. If someone gives you a speech that makes no sense at all, they're like, this will be good. And then you listen to it, you're like, whoa, I barely understood what you said. That is doggerel, which I do like this cartoon here. Owner is talking to his very sad dog. Dog has a pencil in hand. The owner says, this isn't haiku, this is doggerel, which is a nice pun because it means the original idea of the poem, but also a dog writing the poem, I'm sure it wouldn't make sense, but it's also a dog writing it. It's doggerel, so that, I don't know, that makes me laugh. I think that's pretty good. Those, ladies and germs, those are the words this week. I am excited about it. I'm happy about it. I hope you're happy about it. I will see you in class. See you then.